Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Haven't been here for a while and I want to do a Venus reading. I decided that I'll continue the Venus readings on the YouTube platform and everything else is going to be on the podcast. So if you want to listen, the link is up on the About section, or if you're on a desktop, it's on the homepage on the banner for Empath Soul Divination. So we're going to look at the Venus cycle, the Venus movement of Venus conjunct the moon, which happened a few days ago. And so this is about the energy of that, and also in relation to the heart chakra. So this is part of the story that I have been doing Venus readings on, about the self, getting to know the self and seeing one's own shadow side more and more. It is not a dark, dingy place. It's actually a beautiful process of getting to know yourself and the parts of the subconscious mind that are just deep and waiting to blossom like flowers to the conscious mind. It's a beautiful thing. It's not something to be anxious about, and I do think that it does have something to do with sorting out our own behaviors with subconscious behaviors and mechanisms that are born from traumatic memories and experiences. But I think that is a natural process of awakening and enlightenment as you get to know yourself more fully. These things will just be very real to you. For example, suppressed anger might come up, but it's not consuming. It's not a consuming kind of, I have to sort this out, I need to see a fucking psychotherapist. It's nothing like that. Because we're all beautiful, we're all on this, I think, a magical journey of life. And dark things do happen. We experience dark things and we experience beautiful things. And it's all this kind of symphony of the soul experiencing things in this physical incarnation for acceleration of whatever we're here doing. So that is my take on shadow work and the shadow self. It is a process of releasing things about the self that are completely false, self-perceptions based on pain and memories and behavioral mechanisms. Once they are seen, once the light exposes the dark things, as in unseen things, there are choices involved. When we see these things, when they are exposed to us, and they come to our conscious mind, in other words, the light is shining on the dark, unseen things, we have a choice to integrate more fully into our authentic self, or continue on a pathway of negative cycles and mechanisms. So the dark is not a bad thing when it's in that context. It is simply something that is unknown and that is exposed through the light, which is the conscious mind. The next thing I want to say before I get into this reading is that my dog is next to me. If the dog happens to sigh or fart, I promise you it's the dog and it's not me. So let's get into this reading. I'm going to start with the oracles of the enchanted map and the enchanted spell oracle. For those of you who are more visual and like to see the cards, I wish that I could do that, but I just don't have the right setup for that at the moment. I've basically put these two oracle decks together, so whatever comes out, comes out. We have magic prayer, the compass, magical shapeshifter, and the rebirth card and the purity card. So we have this direction. It's talking about a direction and a shifting. As you follow this direction, that is an answer to your own conscious mind of where you want to go. Things start to appear, and you follow that direction, sort of like the Hansel and Gretel story. Your subconscious mind has left breadcrumbs for you to follow as things uncover, and as you find a direction that your soul is intending on leading you. This is a rebirth of the heart, getting back to the purity of what the heart wants. So let's clarify this. Death card. The Six of Pentacles and the Hanged Man in reverse with the Knight of Cups. So the only reverse card I have here is the Hanged Man. And this is an awakening coming out of a time of change and shifting. I feel that for some people, maybe a lot of people who listen to this, that you've shifted your direction, or you have seen more of the pathway ahead. And the Knight of Cups, he's an archetype who moves by purely motivation on the level of the heart. He holds out his cup as his compass, and he follows his heart. He's on a white horse. There's something very pure about the Knight of Cups, so there's something very pure about this direction. I feel that what is being uncovered is the parts of the heart that have been previously closed off, blocked off through painful situations, painful circumstances. This change, this death card, which is all about change, transformation, transmutation, leads into the Six of Pentacles. So this change is leading into something that is an even flowing kind of exchange. He is holding the scales. There is a relation here with Libra with this card. But the Six of Pentacles is a masculine and feminine card. It's the flow of giving and receiving. It's also a card of assistance. But in this reading, I feel like it's about the flowing of something. Let's just clarify this with my Eternal Tarot. But the change and the transformation is all to do with giving and receiving. You may have been in a situation before where you gave a lot, you didn't receive much in return, closed off your heart, something like that. So it's like a willingness to follow a new direction and open the heart, because you have reached a place, or are reaching a place, where you're coming out of holding off and letting your heart lead you. Why do we have the Six of Pentacles here? Regeneration, Mars energy. And the Hermit, another Mars card. So in this deck, the Hermit is Mars in Aries. He's a Mars in Aries archetypal hermit. This is Mars. Mars retrograde, regeneration, rebirth kind of energy here. The hermit wanting to give. So there's a strong desire of wanting to give. So for me, I'll use myself as an example, as I sometimes do. I never have a desire not to share my views about things, especially when they're positive and especially when they are channeled. They're just coming purely from my heart, from my higher self. So I never have a desire not to share that. And it's like I've shifted into a different way to do that because of something that wasn't right for me here on YouTube. It's not the right platform for that kind of thing. But like I said, I'm going to continue to do the Venus cycles here so that it's just easier. But I feel people are shifting something to do with their heart because they have there's a magic of what they can do, what they can share, moving towards that magic. I feel like the time is coming up. I feel like the time is coming up soon. The Hanged Man in reverse and the Knight of Cups. Imagine the Knight of Cups he's just feeling good. He's getting ready to get on his horse and go on a journey of the heart. He's realized a few things. He's been in a hermit mode. He's been in this Mars retrograde energy. He's been going through a transformation. He's materialized a compass of some kind in the form of signs that he sees every day. And there's no denying that that is the path. If you are feeling this, you are seeing the signs, and things in your life are shifting. Where is the Knight of Cups moving towards? You have the card of Renaissance, Venus, and the Dispenser, which is a Uranus energy. So I'm going to just look in the book to see what the symbolism is for this Dispenser card. But the Venus energy it's a renaissance of the heart. And because I clarified the Knight of Cups, where is he moving? He's moving towards a rebirth of the purity of the heart. I might be repeating myself here, but this is what I'm getting. The Dispenser, in the act of distributing grace, symbolizes the human virtue of mercy. It's associated to the planet Uranus and the number 4, and it represents the principle of human providence. There's a quote here that says, "Approach us, foreigner, and eat thereof from our bread and from the source of my people." Talks about noble considerations, importance, generosity. Fortunes by means of intelligently directed enterprises, abundant laboring and genius in order to make it useful. Essentially, this is a message and a card of breaking down some kind of barrier between you and another, or you and a group, or it's you might be in a situation where walls are coming down, people are being more open, and there's less prejudice. There's less judgment. with this message, there's been a shift and a change in the world, and I feel that walls are coming down and people are more accepting of differences, but on an individual level. And of course there's always going to be the people that are very stuck, negative, and full of prejudice, and that may never change. They may go to their grave with those kinds of feelings. But I do feel there's a huge shift on a collective level where people are literally seeing the signs of things in their life, whether that's in the form of new job offers that they have wanted, or things kind of shifting in their life because they're thinking more in a positive frame of mind, and they're moving away from the negative way of thinking about things to do with, oh, you have to do all this work on yourself to improve yourself because there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with that group of people. There's something wrong with this and that. It's like moving away from that kind of negative frame of mind, putting the, when people are quick to assess something and then put the blame on a particular person or a government or a company, which we all have done, and that's natural. We all do that from time to time. But I feel like this is saying that prayers are going to be answered with this letting go and releasing the things that bind and block the heart, which are prejudice, judgment, barriers, walls, blame. I feel like it's coming down to judgment. Even though I don't have the judgment card here, but that's what I feel like it is. So there's a rebirth in a direction with this getting ready to move forward in a way that it's more led by the heart. So just want to quickly talk about something that happened recently with me. I was in some sort of situation where it really antagonized me without words. Like the whole situation was just really bizarre. And some things came to the surface. Things came to my conscious awareness about myself, and things that I was holding on to, and even had judgments about myself and others to do with it doesn't matter what it was to do with, but it was me realizing that I was holding on to some sort of resentment and a judgment, and that I needed to release that because it was blocking my heart. So I just wanted to mention that because you might have felt that recently with this Mars retrograde, rethinking things of the heart. Why is it things of the heart? Because to regenerate your path ahead of you, you have to go back to what it is that you truly desire on a heart level, not on an ego level. So I just wanted to share that because that was something that I needed to work out within myself, and it happened pretty quickly. And I was able to release all judgments that I had. I've got Moon in Scorpio. I don't forget when people do things underhandedly. But I also needed to realize that it wasn't personal, and that the judgments that I had on myself and on the other person or other people were useless to keep in my heart because it was heavy and blocking my pathway. So definitely something about releasing the way that you might be thinking about something. It's not personal. Never really is. So I wanted to look at this magic prayer card that came out first, and how does this desire, this want, the wish, the prayer, how did it get here? How did it come to our consciousness that we are now walking into a pathway of fulfilling that magic prayer? So I'm clarifying, and I have the card of Triumph, Neptune, the Argonaut, Neptune, Purification, Mars. On some deep, mysterious level, deep, mysterious, magical level, something was wanting to be purified, something wanted movement. I'm seeing the symbolism of these cards. It's showing me something to do with the 12th house, the symbol of the fish, the symbol of Pisces, the magic prayer. There's something about the triumph of bringing that realm and that world into this. It's like the compass has the 12 houses, and I feel the compass is pointing towards the 12th house. I'm just going to look at the magic prayer card. I feel that this is something that wants to grow, something that wants freedom, wants growth, it wants to love. It's the Knight of Cups archetype. We have the Death card here. We have this Mars retrograde energy, Hermit energy of looking at regeneration and rebirth. We have purity here. We have a renaissance of the heart. We have a shifting of the mind. So we're going back, and that's why I got Hansel and Gretel. Breadcrumbs, going back to something slowly, little by little. And I didn't even realize that this compass card had the 12 houses until I just looked at it right now. I said that, and I just noticed that it actually does have 12 houses. It's an astrological compass. But I just feel like this is going back to something little by little, to purify it, to let it grow, to let some part of the self be rebirthed into consciousness. So I'm going to look at the magic prayer definition, see what that says. In the book it says, conscious contact with your higher power is achieved through the ritual of prayer and meditation. Speak and listen to the divine force within the field of creation. Surrender your wishes and desires to spirit. You may not get what you want, but you will surely get what you need. Your destiny awaits you. As long as you keep in conscious contact with your higher power, be assured that you are on the right path. So definitely something to do with the pathway towards this house of Pisces, the 12th house, because I see that with the purification card. Someone who is standing over a pool with a fish, and it's Mars energy. Pisces is definitely connected in with purification. I know that one for a fact. And it has come several times through when I've done readings for Pisces. There is something very magically purifying about Pisces energy. People have the capability, when they tap into their Pisces frequency, to purify something. With this Neptune energy that's showing up here and Mars, there's something going on with, it's like a physical act, and the card itself that I clarified talks about a ritual, and that also has been coming up, is this ritualistic act of prayer and meditation. And I even thought this to myself today. I feel like something is telling me to get into the habit of doing like morning meditation, or something that helps my being come in higher contact with whatever wants to channel. I actually had that thought today. So listen to what these breadcrumbs are showing you, and surrender to these things. It's like it may not be something that you necessarily desire, but on some level it is. On a subconscious level it is. Because no one wakes up in the morning and thinks, all I want to do right now is connect to my higher self and, see what... Maybe some people wake up like that. I don't wake up like that. So I get what it's saying about it's not necessarily something that you desire in this physical world, but it is something that you subconsciously might desire. So it's a connection in with the spiritual on a higher level, connecting with the higher self. So with the rebirth card, we have a priestess of rebirth who is contemplating life underneath an elder tree, and she's wearing deep pink and violet, the colors of insight and self-knowledge. This priestess is associated with the winter solstice. So this is the association with death and rebirth. She's also holding a bunch of strong-smelling elder leaves to keep away disease-carrying flies. So it says when this card appears, some kind of transformation is about to take place. You're about to enter a brand new phase of life. Definitely have that throughout this whole reading. And it promises victory over challenge, and you become wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. It has the similarities to the Death card in the tarot, for it is a card of endings and beginnings and of letting go. It is about victory over challenge. So this could be seen in a couple of different ways. Because I'm feeling like the collective is shifting and moving. Some people are moving into a direction of victory over challenge means fight against the system. It means to revolt and aggressively take action and things like that. How are you going to use the Mars energy for this rebirth? Because I definitely feel like this Mars energy is ready to get out of its cage, and wants growth. It wants love deep down. This Mars energy within all of us, which is associated to the survival instinct in the base chakra. It's something within us deeply that needs purification and needs growth. And I feel like it's trying to tell me that things are shifting and people will split into different directions. I don't know about you, but I would like to move into a direction of compassion, and that's why I feel like it's connected in with Pisces here. Triumph is within the stream of compassion. Breaking down the walls, breaking down barriers, breaking down the prejudice, the differences. I see that here. So I feel like there's going to be a huge shifting of the collective that are going in that direction. The true revolution, the true revolt, the true collective empowerment says here that it's going to come through the purity of the heart, the renaissance of this collective Knight of Cups archetype. The purity card talks about having empathy, being kind-hearted, and shielding from those that don't. So if you're in a situation where you've suddenly realized this other person has no empathy, they're either got some mental issues or they are telling themselves in an internal dialogue that excuses them from being empathetic or empathic towards you or towards another being, get the hell away from them, because you don't want to waste your time trying to help them to go through some massive transformation of empathy, unless that's what you do for a living, and unless that's your soul calling. That will only block you from what is your soul calling. true path. So recently when I realized that I was in some sort of like weird, I was admiring someone's mind, but then realized it was all a front and that they don't actually have any empathy whatsoever. It's just like a weird story that they tell themselves. As soon as I released myself from that, which is, you could say that's like cord cutting or something like that, I felt completely back to myself again. I felt light. I wasn't full of resentment. It didn't feel personal. So this purity card talks about shielding from that kind of thing, but also having empathy. I do have empathy for the person. Even though they tell themselves a story that includes not to take responsibility and not to be in a Libran type of balanced place of communicating. So I think that people will find themselves in situations like that where it's just like, and that's why we have the Six of Pentacles here and the Death card, the Hermit, all in this kind of Mars retrograde energy of realizations and contemplation and thinking about relationships. That it's like, do I owe this person my heart? Do I owe them anything? Do I need to help them? Because if you're listening to this, the chances are you live your life in a very empathic way. You feel things, you feel people. But I feel like this shift comes when these realizations, the Hermit, it's like, I don't need to give myself, my heart, to something that is completely incompatible. Something or someone that doesn't and will never see the truth about themselves or about me or about whatever. So this could be you might be part of a group where there's prejudice involved, or there's gossip, or there's there's things about the situation where it goes against how you actually feel about the world, how you feel about people. So there's huge shifts going on a relationship level at the moment. And this is so that we can see the purity of our own heart and the direction we might be giving too much attention or too much love or admiration or whatever it is to people or even groups, where it's going to be impossible to go through a purification process with them. But I do feel, how does that story go with Hansel and Gretel? Because I keep seeing the two kids, they get trapped, and there's we'll call the witch the narcissistic person in this situation, the ego, the person who has an inability to value the purity of your unconditional love, and are jealous of it. I think there's something to do with that in the fairy tale. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. But I'm just feeling like the person who you may have been having difficulties with, or maybe you've had a string of people in your life where you have had to face certain things, and that's not by coincidence. We face certain people, we get in conflict so that we reconnect with ourselves. With the story of Inanna and Ereshkigal, as she goes through these gates, she releases parts of her ego to get to the pure essence of who she is without all this ego stuff. you may be dealing with people who are completely the opposite. They are moving in a different direction than you. And it may just be a meeting point at a certain place in time, as in a point in your life where you meet someone and you are going more into your authenticity and realizing who you are and the things that you are releasing, and the other person may be doing the opposite, and they may be going in another direction, the opposite direction, and are very egotistical. They are narcissistic. They have narcissistic tendencies, or they use manipulation to try to convince you of who they are. So this mirror thing, going through this gate, there's a lot of different possibilities where we just come to a point where it helps us to disrobe something that has been causing us not to see our own self, our own authenticity, or something that's blocking the way that we express ourselves. So there's a lot of different possibilities, but the point is that this is a purification process, and it's pointed towards the 12th house. In my mind it is. In my gut feeling, this is a pathway that is pointed towards the 12th house. Something within this unknown, unseen world within individuals coming to life. And there's something very pure about it. It's not some deep, dark monster coming out of the 12th house. It's something very pure that is helping to helping people to get ready to move forward into a new pathway that includes the ability to come up against these situations and these people, and not have to feel like you have to help that person, or you have to explain yourself to that person, or you have to change yourself to fit their idea of reality. It's some kind of really mysterious purification process that's going on. So, getting back to this purity card. So this priestess is associated with the fire festival of Samhain, Halloween, and the time of the year between October 28th and the 24th of November. So a reminder that purity is a strength and not a weakness. Your ability to feel deeply is a fucking strength. It is people that can feel deep feelings, and they're not lopsided on the left side, and they're not lopsided with their left-right brain kind of thinking, and they have a lot of emotions. It is not a weakness. It's a strength. And there are a lot of people in the world who raise children to think that way, to think that emotions are weak. You're weak if you have emotions. And there are a lot of people in the professional fields of different industries that really don't take people's emotions into account. It's just really like ruthless. And then you also have like the academic world where it's all about like left brain analytical stuff. And I feel like that's why one of the messages recently that I did on my podcast talked about regaining the balance. So this is all tied into that, regaining the balance of emotions and the mind. If you're in line with that kind of balance, you can do a lot of things. As far as shape-shifting, I think it was the Leo Aquarius podcast that I did. Shape-shifting authentically. So there's this like powerhouse movement of the heart in a large part of the collective. Moving towards the 12th house, like this kind of like a empath kind of army type spiritual warrior thing. So this is a really strong asset, this purity and empathy, and it's about finding a way to manage an empathetic heart so as to guard against burnout. So maybe situations that you have been in have caused burnout, and that is shifting, completely shifting. Speaking of shifting, let's clarify the map shifter card. Persuasion, Sun, Aries energy. With preeminence, Venus energy. Oh, there's going to be so many people that will try to persuade people. They will try the gift of the, North Node is in Gemini. They will try to use the gift of the analytical, a lot of talking, lots of words for the placement of winning or being the best in the situation. Or I just feel like there's going to be a lot of competition. Why is there going to be a lot of competition? It's saying that you have to be your authentic self and not risk burnout by wasting time with people who are that there's never going to be a purification process with that person. Like, it's just too incompatible. And although you may have empathy for them, and I feel like I've said this before, but although you may have empathy and you care about them, maybe you don't care about them, but there's something about that they only want triumph. They only want to win. It's a very interesting situation we have here with Mars in retrograde, and what I'm seeing here with the shape-shifting. People are going to be shape-shifting to appear like something that they aren't in order to get a position, a higher position. Well, this could just be in a collective level. So it's saying to continue to maintain contact with your higher self and get into the rituals of, this is a perfect time to start creating some rituals that have to do with you connecting more and more to your higher self. Because what I feel here is that you're going to be magnetically attracting pure things as you do these rituals. So I'm definitely doing these rituals. I got the message today when I was thinking about it, that there was something that wanted to channel through me, and I'm more open to it now than I have been before, but it's definitely talking about having more of a connection with the higher self, going higher. But it is saying that just be aware, but not resentful, but be aware that there are going to be a lot of people around that will try to do this in a disingenuous way or an inauthentic way. Interesting. So I just wanted to finish this reading off with two oracles, and we have Come Together and Deep Freeze. And it's interesting, let's say it's interesting because I see a lion here who's frozen. And it's like the heart gets bigger and bigger. There's 3 hearts, and they get bigger and bigger as they get higher. So the higher you get with connecting to your higher self, you actually attract either a soulmate or someone, because in the message here I'm seeing 2 people coming together. It wakes something up. Wakes something up within this 12th house. Why is my attention being brought to the 12th house and purification and rebirth? The moon and the Ace of Cups in reverse. I just feel like it's what people are bringing in to this chapter in life. What they are awakening within their subconscious world, what is being seen by the light of their conscious mind. It is something that is unconditionally overflowing with love, but I do feel it's something that has to be protected because we have the 7 of Wands covering it. And that is why it like attracts competitive energy, because it's so pure. So I'm going to leave it there and leave it up to anyone who's listening to this to interpret that how they want to interpret it. Thank you for listening to this reading. Sending everyone lots of love, and hope to see you over on my Facebook page, which is called Practical Alchemy. That link is also here on the channel. And I'll see you back here next month for the next Venus reading. Lots of love to everyone. Bye.